And a good morning to you. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
I'm feeling much better. The birthday boy, for Rembert, brought birthday biscuits for me. I don't think it works that way, but hey, shout out to the fine cooks that bring your microphone around. The fine cooks at Brookwood. There you go. Wake up. Get awake now. Glad to have you here with us this morning. I got something I thought was really neat that was in breaking news this morning. I got this from, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull it up. I think it was on The Athletic. And it's a historical thing. And I do want to talk about Jim Brown a little bit, too. Juju and I was talking about last night. I just learned a whole lot about it, but I want to get back into that a little bit this morning as well. We're going through some finals right now. NBA finals, NHL finals is going on. But here is the amazing part, okay? Right now, we're in the we're in the semifinals, basically.
Right.
There's
Eastern
four
Western
series.
Conference final.
There's four series going on.
Yep.
All four series, okay, 2 in the NBA, 2 in NHL, are set on sweeps. Mm-hmm. It's never happened before.
Right.
That it was a complete sweep across the board. I got the newsletter this morning, but I'm trying to remember. And there were hints last night that LeBron may be ready to retire.
Do you think he's running for president?
You know what he was waiting on? What he said he wanted to do is he wanted to play 1 year with his son.
With his son?
Yeah.
And
that's going to take 2 years to do that, though.
But I was making a joke about because he's active or whatever. But
he could. But he's not old enough yet. He's just 38.
Be
Could
35.
be 45.
35.
Is it 35, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was 45.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyway, and I might be wrong about that.
Maybe it is 35.
I don't think it's 45, but I might be. But anyway, that's somebody that when he does get out, because he's been active, it would not surprise, if he were to do that. Now, that would be pretty cool for him to play with his kid, okay?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of like Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey. They both hit a home run the same game.
That's right, yeah.
Cool stuff like that, right? So,
all right, here's what we got. The Nuggets beat the Lakers. That one's over, so they swept 4-0. The Heat leads the Celtics 3-0. They play tonight. But here was the thing. When the conference finals came out, ESPN gave the Heat a 3% chance of making it to the finals. 3%, and they're up 3-0. The Panthers lead the Hurricanes 3-0. And the Golden Knights of Las Vegas, who've already won a Stanley Cup, lead the Stars 2-0.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
The Dallas Stars.
It's going to happen.
It said that every series on the brink of a sweep are already there. This has never happened. Simultaneous sweeps in the conference finals have never happened in the NBA and have been rare in the NHL.
Right.
So if all of it happened, this would be the first time that both of them were complete sweeps. But like the Nuggets have a week off before they have to play.
And they need that. They all do. And it's one of those things like, I'll just give you an example. Like Quinn's summer schedule, he's playing with the Lenore Legends, which is part of the Old North State League, right? So they start off playing, a game, every couple of days,
And this is Wood and Bat League, right?
Yes, Wood and Bat. It's College Wood Bat League, right? So they start playing a game every couple of 3 days for about 2 weeks. And then they get into it for about 2.5, 3 weeks where they play 5 out of 7 nights. Then they start breaking it down again towards the end. And I think that they're onto something there with that because and this may be something the NBA needs to look at, okay, because they do have an extended season. They play arguably too many games. I mean, that's a fair conversation to get into, right? But my point of this is you give your body time to acclimate, callus, like you use a lot. You play, get that sustainability in, get your motor going, and then you kind of ease off the throttle a little bit in the end so you can maintain and then maybe start your playoffs. I noticed, like in American Legion Baseball, there's some teams, Cherville and Shelby are two that come to mind, Caldwell, that will play almost every night, the whole year.
That's
right?
because the season isn't but 6 weeks.
But
and then you get the playoffs. 4 weeks.
yeah,
Okay.
because you're right at 6 from start to playoffs, but you normally take a week and a half too because of graduations and
Right.
other things. You know what I'm saying? Other
I just
things
knew if
that
they
factor
started
in.
about mid-May
No,
and then
you're right.
first week in July, you're in playoffs.
I'll tell you, May 20th is probably about the time that's the average start date
Yeah.
that somebody has played. You're right. But it's just interesting to me that, that the Summer League is doing what I think is just to try to help, the players improve their skills without getting injured going into the next year.
They're mimicking a spring training season in
really
Major League
smart.
Baseball.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Yeah.
And that really doesn't have anything to do. I was just making a point that may be something that when you talk about the Nuggets having a week off, it kind of sparked that thought, well, you know what, there's something to that so these, players can maintain their health.
Yeah. Yeah.
The WNBA, I think, does a good job of that with, the players they have, where they're not, quite as active in the schedule, as far as playing dates as like the NBA is, right? So, it seems that, there's a lot more time for minor injuries to not become major, right? So, yeah.
Well, when you look at American Legion baseball, American Legion playoff baseball is as long or longer than the season.
What is?
The playoffs. Because that in American Legion, because that's 6 weeks if you make it all the way.
No, it could be.
Yeah.
No, you're
you
right.
Go deep
you're
into
right.
August,
and you play. You start with 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5, and then you play 4 out of 7, and then you go back to 2 out of 3 for the conference championship or for the area finals, and then just double elimination. To the state championship, then the regional, I believe, or pool play now, or pool play now in the state championship, I believe, and I've lost connection with it, but. It's just interesting to me, how things have evolved and that how people are taking a look at, maintaining, health has become science.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, it really has. It's not
but the thing of it is that people don't understand it really is science. It's like, I say this all the time, and I say it jokingly, but I say it because I've always struggled with my weight.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
And there's every diet, everything out there that's humanly possible you can think of.
Yeah.
But it's simple math. You got to burn more calories than you take in.
You burn
period.
It's
just that. I mean, it's just that simple. It's a mathematical equation.
It is what it is. But there's factors in like, well, do you want to burn muscle? Do you want to burn fat?
Yeah.
It's like Ozempic, right? Ozempic can be looked at as a weight loss product. It doesn't talk about if you're losing muscle versus fat or fat versus muscle, right? I'm just giving an example. It's total weight, the weight of something lost. There's just so much out there. And the neat thing about today's athletes versus back then, they play more games today. They train harder and do all that. But there's so many things they can do with hyperbaric chambers.
Oh, yeah.
All of these things to help athletes perform and stay optimal. And I'm certainly not one that condones the use of steroids and things like that. But, it kind of falls – don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but it just kind of falls in line, with the way that they treat
here's
and
the thing, and that's the key.
And I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying that there's a lot of –
I'll go out there on a limb for you. Let me go out there on a limb for you.
Okay.
I'll do this. There are drugs that help the body recover. When you get into the problem with those drugs is when you're using it for enhancement
instead
and
of
not recovery.
Yeah,
because you should take it right. You should take advantage.
Yes.
Peyton Manning did it. They wanted to get him in trouble about it, but he was treated. We are treated as regular patients when we have injuries and stuff. There are certain things they give us that helps the body heal and heal quicker. It's when you don't have an injury and you're taking those drugs to make the body more than what it is. There's where the problem comes from. That's where the unfair advantage is.
So if you're talking about Peyton Manning, you're talking about male enhancement?
Male enhancement. Okay. Yeah. Get the pump. I'm sorry. Let me move on. Richie, good morning. Milton, good morning. Happy birthday from Richie and Bob and Milton.
Everyone. Very kind.
Richie said he needs a rule explanation from you.
What's he need?
Why is a foul tip into the catcher's mitt on strike 1 or 2 not an out?
Right? Is that what you're going to ask? Not an out. I can't say. Okay. So, Richie, this is a great question. I have been answering this since I've been coaching Little League Baseball since I was 14. All right. And I never was able to explain it the first 25 or 30 years. But now I stole this from a guy He said, the simplest way to explain that is there's no interruption in the play when you do a foul tip. There's no interruption in the play. Outs occur when there's interruption.
Meaning the catcher didn't have to move.
No, just meaning he catches the ball clean. Doesn't matter if the catcher jumps anywhere, the guy throws the bat at the ball and it tips and the catcher catches it. That's a foul tip, not a foul ball. And so that was the easiest way for somebody to explain it to me. There was no the intent of the exchange of outs is when there's interruption in the natural sequence of pitching to the catcher. The catcher catches the ball. Batter bats the ball. They being people that enforce, make up, enhance, whatever rules, do not believe that is enough of a transition for it to warrant.
Always been that way?
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay.
So
I've never thought about that. That's a great question.
Well, it's a really good question. It's one that for a long time I had trouble answering, but I heard someone explain that, and it made a lot of sense to me. There's no disruption of any kind in the play itself on the foul tip. Even when you catch the foul tip and throw the ball to second base, it's a clean catch.
I'm going to expand on that question.
Okay.
Why is it not a strikeout if the catcher drops the third strike?
It is a strikeout.
Okay, but I see him tag.
But it's not an out. It has to be a clean catch. So what that means on the third strike is, now if the ball's tipped in any way, as you know, that is a foul ball when it's not a clean catch, to Richie's question.
Right.
Okay. So on the third strike, if the ball is not caught clean, I don't care if the batter swings at it or the catcher
just drops it.
Just for whatever reason, if it's not a clean catch on strike three, the runner may advance to first, and then the defense has to get him out. That's just what they do.
Okay.
And what you'll see when you see, umpiring at a higher level, when there's not a clean catch on strike three, the home plate umpire will do this, which means it's not clean. All right.
Fair ball.
Instead of doing?
Yeah, it's a fair ball.
Well, no, it's not a fair ball because that's a ball batted between the lines, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a ball in play. So he does this, all right? And then the catcher, wherever he has to go with it's in front of him, over to the side, whatever he's got to do to make the throw, right? And the other night, G struck out on strike three, and the catcher missed the ball. And he was happier to make it to first base than he was the line shot that the first baseman would catch once in 500 years. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But just being, but it's different how we all look at things. But Richie, I hope that that's
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Milton laughed at 45 to be president. It must be 35. Is it 45?
No, it's
Milton,
not 45.
It's 35. It's 35.
Because JFK was younger.
Yeah, because Milton said, I'm wrong. It is for 35. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. The only reason I remembered, and I would have asked Robbie. Like, I could have got Robbie on here, and he could have given us the whole spiel about
But we're
JFK.
off at 9.
This is true. The history lessons go a little bit beyond an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's okay because they're very informative, and you learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
But we'll do that one next year on the way down the beach. We'll have the why is it 35?
We got to wait till next year?
Well, for that trip.
Okay.
The fall trip. Actually, we've got a summer trip that y'all don't know about yet coming up to the mountains and then to the beach.
Richie said there's a league from Marion in that league. That wooden bat league.
Oh, yeah, the Swamp Foxes. So Quinn and those got to play those guys a couple of times.
So is that are they in the same league with like the Mooresville Spinners?
That's a different one.
Okay, but it's a wooden bat league.
It's a wooden bat as well.
But there's Mooresville, there's a Statesville team, a couple Charlotte teams, a Lake Norman team.
Yeah, that's the CPL. Coastal Plains League.
But it's kind of it's same
all
kind
the
of
same thing.
And I guess
right.
is it the Grizzlies? Don't they have a wooden bat league? They may not play anymore.
They were part. I don't know if they're playing in the CPL anymore.
Okay.
But that's where Russell Wilson played. Sort of Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
He said he found out when he was up at the Bigfoot Festival.
Oh yeah, and
which, by the way, is overhyped for what it is.
Big.
There's a Bigfoot in Kaiser. You know where Kaiser is?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I had to tell Mike Powell about this. There was an English professor at Gaston when I came through. His name's Robert Williams, and he lived in Kaiser, and he wrote a book about the Kaiser Bigfoot. I'm just telling you, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you. Brian, good morning. Happy birthday from Brian.
Thank you.
Happy birthday from Candy Walker.
Oh, thank you.
Sis, good morning. She's jealous of the birthday biscuit. It's very good. If you see me lean over and take a bite, that's on you. I'm sorry. But that wouldn't be a good decision after cardio and leg day this morning.
No, it would be. It would be. You'd replenish.
Yeah, it'd be good.
She's gotten to the point where she's replenishing.
Town manager Todd Herm says 35 born as a U.S. citizen. 35. I know where you're going. Stop it. Richie said playing summer league, I was able to score after I made it to first after a strikeout and the catcher missed the ball. You must have been faster than I thought. Safe. All right, I got to take a break. All right, we'll take a quick break. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And we're back. 4's on his second due. I had to refill out of the big monster. It's a big monster day. It's Tuesday. I went in to buy that down the street here, and I said, why? They were dragging around. I was dragging around. I said, why does today feel like Monday? And the guy I was working says, well, it is Monday. I said, please don't tell me that. I can't add another day to the week.
God.
That won't work. That's just a little too much. Let's see. Where were we? What is going on today? Richie said, not faster than you thought Catcher couldn't find the ball, and that'll make it a little bit harder. A couple stories from ESPN we talked about last night, and we'll talk about this morning. Green Bay has been selected for the 2025 draft. There were questions on whether they had the infrastructure to do it, but they do. And they were in it for 25, but they couldn't have it in 25 because they will only allow one non-Packer event in Lambeau Field per year. That's it. And in 25, there's a special – I'm sorry. It was – did I get that right? Let me back up here and make sure. Yes. Anyway, there is a college game coming, and it is easy, big fella, easy. There's a college game coming, and it is Wisconsin and Notre Dame are going to play in 26.
So that's okay. I got you.
So, but Green Bay's going to host it. The attendance at Kansas City this past year for the 3-day event estimated at more than 300,000 spectators.
Holy smokes!
I asked Juju last night as owners of the Green Bay Packers, will we get a special invitation to attend the draft?
No.
Yeah. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. We had Greg Paradine, who's the head coach of the Lenore Ryan lacrosse team, who's going to travel to, I think, Chicago maybe, for the Division II National Championship. They've made it to the National
Philadelphia.
Championship. I can't remember where it's at.
They're playing on Veterans. I mean,
okay,
not Veterans Stadium, but they're playing
FedEx Field, Veterans
Field.
Stadium.
Yeah, that's
okay. In the Vet.
Yes,
Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, and we've talked about this before. Jim Brown was an amazing athlete. Jim Brown had a rule change, okay, in lacrosse because of what he did playing lacrosse. Okay? They had to make a change. And I didn't know this, and I asked Greg last night, and he said, yeah, I knew that. But what he did, they changed the rule about how you can carry the stick when you've got the ball. The stick has to have motion. You can't carry it close to your body.
Because he could outrun everybody with it.
Yeah. So he was
That's
part
incredible.
of a rule change.
That's incredible.
Which is, and the things that he did, I told Juju, I didn't know this. He went through, when he was in college at Syracuse, he was in ROTC. When he graduated second lieutenant. He did Army Reserve while he played football in the NFL, and after his 4-year stint, came out as the captain. I had no idea that Jim Brown was a captain.
That's a great story.
I mean, just if you go back and you look at the stuff he's done. Now, he's a bad man. Let me go ahead and tell you, he's a bad man.
Okay.
Any way you look at it, he's a bad man.
Okay.
He is in the top 105 greatest football players of all time. But what he did, he is in the College Football Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, and the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame.
That's serious, man.
I mean, and we were talking about it. I don't understand kind of how that happened because, and the coach at Lenore Ryan explained it. He was born in St. Simon Island in Georgia. Jim Brown was. Moved to New York on Long Island at 8 years old, and they played hockey. They played a lot of, lacrosse. And now lacrosse kind of went away and has made a comeback, but especially down here, and it seems to be for the kids that don't want to play football but want a little contact, because there's contact in lacrosse. But, and it
goes on during baseball season. See, that was another
it's a spring
reason,
sport.
Yeah, that's another reason I was trying to get the attention of the High School Athletic Association with through other coaches, whatever representatives, that we really need 4 sports seasons.
Mm-hmm.
we need. People call them minor sports. We need a sports season that's compacted.
Mm-hmm.
For certain things. Like tennis. Where you can play multiple days in a week, right? Cross country. Track. Those kind of things where kids can actively participate in single individualized sports, right, and events, and then have 3 additional seasons of team sports. Now, again, I'm not saying that one sport's more important than the other. I'm just saying to give kids more opportunities, because right now, young ladies, a lot of them are having to choose between soccer and softball. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. Okay, that's crazy. I mean, guys have to choose between football and soccer. We had a ton of kids play football last year, grew up playing soccer. They shouldn't have to choose between those two.
Nope.
And so, I didn't mean to go off on that. I'm just saying that it would be nice to see that, taken seriously, taking a look at to see how to work that in.
A couple more accomplishments, just in case you didn't know. He excelled in basketball, track, lacrosse, and football. As a sophomore, he was the second leading scorer on the basketball team, 15 points per game.
Wow.
He earned a letter in track.
Yeah.
In 1955, he finished in 5th place in the national championship decathlon.
Wow.
That's 10 sports, folks.
Wow.
His junior year, he averaged 11.3 points in basketball, was named second-team All-American in lacrosse. Senior year, he was named first-team All-American with 43 goals in 10 games to rank second in scoring nationally.
That's crazy.
And then here's where it said Brown was so dominant in the game that lacrosse rules were changed, requiring a lacrosse player to keep the stick in constant motion when carrying the ball instead of holding it close to your body. There's currently no rule in lacrosse that requires a player to keep the stick in motion, but when he was playing, they did. And then the ROTC, I told you about that one.
Incredible.
Here's some other things in college. As a sophomore, he was the second leading rusher. A junior, he rushed for 676 yards, 5.2 yards per carry. In his senior year, consensus first-team All-American, finished 5th in the Heisman, set the school records for the highest season rushing average of 6.2 and the most rushing touchdowns in a single game at 6.
That's incredible.
He ran for 986 yards, third most in the country despite Syracuse only playing 8 games.
Yeah.
Scored 14 touchdowns. In the final game against Colgate, they beat him 61-7. He rushed for 197 yards, 6 touchdowns, kicked 7 extra points, and a school record 43 points in one game. He kicked 2. He just didn't drive the bus. In the Cotton Bowl, he rushed for 132 yards, scored 3 touchdowns, kicked 3 extra points, but a blocked extra point after Syracuse's third touchdown was the difference, and TCU beat him 28-27.
Wow.
And he went through a lot of the racism thing, because it was not one of those things where it was acceptable back in. But if you don't know about
It's incredible.
Jim Brown, you need to read about it.
That's incredible.
He averaged the then Long Island record in a senior of 38 points per game for his basketball team. Do you know who broke that record? The Yaz. Carl Yastrzemski broke it at Bridgehampton, was the high school in Long Island.
Oh, my gosh.
Broke it. But Jim Brown, say what you want, he was unbelievable. Let's see. Back up. A lot of stuff's come in. Lindsay said, hey, the University of Nashville champions put up another one on women's tennis. Is that Carolina?
Yeah.
I don't keep up with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rich said, anyone watched the All-Star race? I caught the last 69 laps, so it was boring. I don't watch racing. Sorry. I'm with Lindsay. There's a lot of left turns. But it was great for the community, from what I understand. I think it was great for Western North Carolina. Rich said it is Lincoln Financial Field. Jared said happy birthday,
Thank you,
sir. Richie said, I'm sure it was. It was just not a lot going on for an all-star race. I mean, Larson won by over 4 seconds, and the only passing was being down to a lap car. 4 seconds at North Wilkesboro is a pretty good lead.
Yeah,
North Wilkesboro, that's not a big track.
Yeah, it's like Churchill Downs, like three links.
Yeah. Andrew said, only UNC brags about country club national titles.
Whoa!
Wow. That's a shot right there.
It's a haymaker first thing in the morning.
I take all the national titles I can get. I don't care if it's underwater.
It's a haymaker. First
underwater
thing in the morning.
piddly sticks. You know.
Holy smokes!
Wow, Andrew, I didn't even think you was awake at this time of day.
Oh my gosh!
But you can't go with what Andrew says because he can't make up his mind who he's a fan of.
What do you mean?
You got to have one school you pull for, not two by sport.
Oh.
Lindsay said she was. Lindsay said, "Do you know who they lost to?" NC State. She said, "I wasn't going to bring that up, but." Andrew said, "Oh, I dislike them 24 hours a day. That's because you're a pukey. I don't like Duke either."
Oh.
My biggest accomplishment with Duke was I got accepted. They wanted me really bad, and I said no. All they could talk about, all they could tell me about was how much my scholarship was worth.
They came in and talked to me about football and, of course, baseball and stuff, and came through. And that's how they talked to me. You know, my baseball coach called me in his office. He's assistant principal at the time. Of course, they were going over football stuff and baseball stuff. So that was 34 years ago.
I've been out of high school 45 years.
Still waiting to hear back how that, if they're interested.
Oh, it's on now. Here we go. Andrew said, "But I do know who I don't pull for." Lindsay said, "Oh, please, anything not country club about Duke." Lindsay said, pot, meet kettle.
Oh, here it comes. Hey, look. And a right jab.
Wait a minute. I believe Duke's got a couple of national championships in a country club sports of somewhat. Lacrosse. Because it used to just be played to private schools down in Charlotte.
Tell you what, man, it is taken over, and it's very expensive to play that sport.
Is it really?
The helmets are incredibly expensive.
Well, that's because of concussion thing.
Incredibly expensive.
How about the folks that, and maybe you did this, I don't know. How about the folks that in high school buy their kids a helmet?
Football helmet? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because they're $400 to $600.
Yeah, and then some of them, you know, you were talking about it last night with the helmet you wore. You know, the thing
it wasn't leather, in case anybody won't know.
Folded up, put in your back pocket. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those things too where you know God makes us all different, and the way they make a helmet, they make it from a mold. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's head's molded that way, and I remember when Grant, one of my younger brothers, was in high school in 9th grade. They had to go to. His head was so little. Yeah, that they had to go to the youth league and get a helmet.
Really?
His freshman year, yeah. Yep, they had to get him a helmet.
I didn't have that problem.
No, he didn't have that problem after that.
And when I played, the helmets weren't adjustable. Now you can pump them up and different stuff to make
different
them fit.
World, right? Yeah. But that's what the whole point of buying a helmet. The safety rating, why you use this. But the whole point is, and I remember Coach Tom Brown saying, hey, look, if you want to take concussions out of football or reduce them drastically,
take the helmets off.
Just take the helmets off.
Yeah.
People go back to tackling with their shoulder. I mean, of course, he's making a point.
Nobody's launching with their head.
Right, that they're using, they're making the helmet where you're actually human missiles out there. It's incredible. A guy that, played against in high school, Chip Lewis, who was a coach over at Patton and Freedom, and he hit me so hard head to head right here. I was running the ball to the right, broke the pocket, got tripped up, put my hand on the ground, spun out to the left, and as soon as I regained my balance and stood up, he was coming, really fast guy, great athlete, probably one of the best ones that ever played against. Came across and hit me head to head right here, knocked me out, dude. Still this day. One of the hardest hits I've ever taken. But it's head-to-head is the point because they were making helmets that way.
This is probably a Scott Cloninger question. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Scott Cloninger, I made an announcement last night in case nobody knows. Scott and his sister Tammy lost their mom on Sunday.
So sorry.
And they're having a service this afternoon. Yeah. Just remember Scott. I'm surprised that they don't have sensors in the helmet to tell you what part of the helmet was used to make a hit.
It's coming.
That would take the targeting thing. That would pretty well answer those questions.
Yeah, it's coming. The one thing that you can't take out of football is the nature of the sport.
the violence.
Yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, it's not a contact sport; it's a collision sport. And at some point, there's got to be you need to understand the risk involved in anything that you're doing. All right, there's a difference between risk and, well, without getting into my job, to what I do, but there's a difference between risk and volatile situation, volatility. Risk is complete loss of capital. The volatility are things that can happen from time to time, right? And when we say reduce the risk, we're talking about any kind of damage long term, or even short term, but long term, it's what it's looked for. And there's going to be ebbs and flows, waves, peaks, valleys, all that, high points. But you've got to understand the risk of what you're doing when you play a sport. And to play a sport is to be able to go out there and put things out on the line and risk. And, it's still to this day one of those things where you say, well, this kid can't throw this many pitches, but I'm going to let this kid line up and play 127 to 150 plays every time in football if they play both sides of the ball in special teams. So the kid can't throw, but I'm just giving an example, 100 pitches, but he can go out there and hit his head potentially 156 times. And that's okay. You see what I'm saying? There's too much of, people just need to be educated and make the best informed decision for them.
That is correct.
Oh, the other thing that I heard that we may not have enough time to talk about, or may,
sure we
but
it's your birthday.
Hey, every day's a birthday being married to Mandy, okay?
There you
Just
go. That's what I'm talking about.
So what was interesting was heard in a topic of conversation with some, let's call them friends that I have, that there may be some revenue share or some royalty stuff that will eventually be asked for all these NIL deals for people providing the opportunity for all these things to occur. It's very interesting. So I would expect that to start coming out in a couple of years, if not sooner, that the university says, hey, that's great, you're making all this money, but guess who's providing all the opportunity?
This is our fee.
This is how much it costs for you to do that. So there's going to be revenue share. And in the end, the lawyers will work their way around it and make something happen because that's what.
Here's the deal
in the legal world.
I do not.
So it'd be interesting.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
No,
okay?
no, I'm just saying.
But what I want to happen, and this is the part that kind of gets me out of my gourd, I want it to be a rule that's implemented across the board, because if it's not, this kid will leave this school because he don't have to pay that fee if he goes to this school.
That's right.
And that's where the unfairness comes from.
Well, the transfer portal thing, what's happening right now, and we were talking about this the other night at the softball game. Megan was playing at I believe it's West Stanley.
Yeah.
Who was remarkable. Our girls played great. Our girls are really good, and they played against a very, very good team. But what's interesting is they're talking about, well, this player, talking about softball, is going to this school. Well, why aren't they going to I'm just giving an example. Why aren't they going to Auburn? Well, Auburn doesn't really recruit high school players anymore. Now, I'm not saying Auburn. I'm just using, let's just say
just an example.
Just XYZ University. That's a top flight Division I big time school. Forget Auburn. Let's just say University XYZ. They're recruiting out of the portal. So when these players go to mid-major Division I's or even top-level Division II teams and are playing really well and put the numbers up, then they put fillers out and get them to transfer into their Division I school. Folks, that's not the way this rule is intended.
Nope.
And good intentions often have terrible consequences, and it's taking away opportunity from other people while providing to those, and there's nothing, and that's always going to happen in a capitalistic type society. But the problem is there has to be rules within that so it doesn't hamper the growth and development and opportunities of other people. The things that we've been fighting for since the country started and continue to fight today are actually being woven now into the athletic, the collegiate athletic, even filtering on down to high school. And so we've got to be very, very careful on how this goes about. And then people don't like, certain rules or say it's unfair. At some point, this is the rule. This is what you have to do. There are no exceptions. Rules are not written so you could have exceptions to them. They're written to be followed. So the playing field is what? Even or levelized to some degree. The issue is, just like locally, there's always an exception.
Yep.
Okay, I've seen kids being able to transfer schools locally, all right, that just say one thing. Doesn't have to be true. They just have to say that. When others have moved because of classes that were offered, but yet they have to sit out a year. Okay?
I agree.
So my point to all this is it's never going to stop. The circle is always going to keep going. It's always going to keep going round and round. It may feel like a square or rectangle sometimes, but it is a circle. And it's just interesting to me that people are going to figure a way out to get back what they originally invested for someone. You know, the government does it with us every week, month, bi-weekly, whatever, through taxation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's no different.
Nope.
So it is what it is.
Got to have an equal playing field.
Man.
Let me take a quick break, and I'll update you on some local high school action getting down to championships here when we come back.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Let me catch up on comments. I learned how to talk. I'm enjoyed a lot. That came in while we were up here jibber-jabbering. Richie said, speaking of pulling for teams, go find the Greg McElroy YouTube. He talked about the ACC breaking up. He talked about where he could see where the schools go. He said NC State to SEC for this reason. In the SEC, teams love to hate more than they love to love. And that's NC State. Andrew said, great point to bring up, Lanny. It's funny to me that safety is preached all day, but they won't spend the money to buy the highest safety-rated helmets. No, I agree. I agree. Richie said, you mean the University of New Jersey. Talking about Duke. Well, I will say this. When I was recruited by Duke,
Haven't heard that.
I was the minority. I was the only Southern boy down there when I took a visit. There wasn't anybody down there from around here. Todd said cost of a football helmet at the rec has went from around 50 to well over 200 in the past few years. After 10 years, whether they are used or not, all 10 years must be replaced.
Yeah.
Aldrich said happy birthday to
thank
four.
Thank you.
Lindsay said you got that right, and they would get slaughtered by those teams weekly. I might enjoy that, talking about the NC State going to the SEC. She agrees with the University of New Jersey at Durham. Steven said happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Lindsay said smoother than a fresh jar of Skippy there for. Let's see.
Awesome.
Milton says there's a road that is paved with good intentions. That's so true.
There is.
Andrew said it's turned your mid-major schools into farm system for the Power 5 schools. That's exactly what's done.
And Nick Saban said,
yes,
and Dabo even said it.
Yep.
Mac Brown said it before he went.
Did you know Mac's back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that.
Sure. Okay. Chad and
like
Brand,
him, man.
I do too. Chad and Brandon wanted to wish you a happy birthday as
thanks,
well.
brothers. Thank you very much.
Andrew said, I guess they're saying Yankee kids are more intelligent than Southern kids. I finished 10th in my class. I'm just a pumpkin head, though. Now Lindsay said, wow, gloves off. I'm legit offended.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Be good, children. Softball, East Lincoln gets underway tonight as they'll play Rockingham County. Now, Rockingham County, I had to get clarification on that. Rockingham County is not Richmond County where Rockingham is. Rockingham County is where Reidsville is.
Yep.
I did not know that. Keever had to update me on that.
Yeah, so there's you got Rockingham County, but then you got 4 or 5 other schools in the county. You know, it's. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Reidsville and others, yeah.
It kind of throws you off, you know. Anyway.
And last night in soccer, I saw this as well. Hickory and St. Stephen's were playing, and St. Stephen's won 1-1. I'm guessing that was a, what do they call it, shootout? Don't they have a
Tell
shootout?
Andrew to hit or whoever to clarify
yeah,
that.
Is that what happened, Andrew? It'll be a shootout?
God, that's terrible,
yeah,
though, if you think
shootout.
about it.
St. Stephen's got 4, Hickory got 3.
You know,
so they got the win.
I mean, I understand that you have to, get a final and you can't play forever.
Well, now, they do have ties in regular season,
I
but
understand.
when you got to move on.
Yeah, it just, and I know that's but it just, I don't know, man. It'll be the same thing in basketball as not playing overtime, right? And then going up and saying, okay, here's 5 foul shots. Sorry, Dean Smith, foul shots. Here's 5 foul shots. All right, whoever hits the most of these gets to advance. That's what that would be like. I hate it for the. I mean, I know they got to do it, but I hate it for the kids.
I don't know.
In
golf, I think when there's when I played in Captain's Choice tournaments and there's a tie, they play it off on the card, right?
Yeah.
And they play it off on the card. They play it off on the card by who got ahead first. If I'm not mistaken, they just back it up.
Yeah, so you start on this tee box.
That's right.
That's the handicap.
Yep.
I think Robbie was telling me the other day he said, now, you see, at the end of the –
Wait a minute, that's almost Frank.
No, that's Coach Snyder.
Yeah.
Coach Snyder.
He did really good at the Hall of Fame. I could actually hear him.
Listen, Frank Snyder's one of my – if he's not one of my top, 5 favorite humans, but he and Robbie, if you put them both behind booths and you give them something passionate to discuss –
you can't tell them apart.
I mean, and they can switch on you, never know. It is awesome.
One more thing I'll bring up.
Now, not in regular conversation, but in passion. All right.
1957 NFL draft. Jim Brown was the 6th pick. So Juju asked last night if he was 6, who were the 5 in front of him?
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I'm going to give you. Number 1 pick, Paul Horning.
Okay, that's fine.
Number 2 pick, John Arnett. Went to the Rams out of Southern Cal.
Wow.
Number 3 pick, out of Stanford, John Brody. Went to the 49ers.
Yeah, right. That's a good pick.
Number 4, Packers had 2 first-round picks.
Whoa.
2 top 5 picks. They got Ron Kramer, an end, out of Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers took a guy named Lenny Dawson.
But he didn't play. He
went to Kansas City. Yeah.
Yes.
He was the number 5 pick. Then Jim Brown
That's
was the number
incredible.
6. Yeah.
That is incredible. Wow. What great history.
And I
lesson
didn't
there.
see any other except I recognized Jack Pardee.
Oh, what a great player.
Went to the Rams at number 14.
He was a back.
He was a back.
Running back.
Texas A&M.
He was. Okay, running back, yeah.
And he was the only other one that I recognized in the first round.
That's incredible.
And then let's see if there's any other players.
That's
I don't
incredible.
recognize any of those names down through there. Mr. Irrelevant for that year, which would have been the 360th pick, was Don Guest out of Washington State.
Wow.
But I thought, and I didn't think about that until Juju brought that up. So who did they pick instead of Jim Brown? So there was 5 players that were picked ahead of Jim Brown.
In that, what year was that? 19 what?
56.
56. All right, now think about all the things and the perceptions back then versus you looking at things today and why Jim Brown may have not been picked, right?
Right.
So that's got to weigh into, as much as I don't want to assume because I didn't live in that time period, I don't know, but, we learn from history. There's a lot of things that my parents and my grandparents talked to me about growing up as a young man, okay, from a very young age, about injustices and trying to make things for all of God's children, okay? Very clear, very concise, very precise conversations about things. So I'm just wondering, in today's world, how does that draft go down?
Oh, it's a whole lot different.
And I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just bringing up, could that have played a reason in it based on the things that he had accomplished, both as a football player and then just amateur athletics, lacrosse, basketball,
track. Yeah.
It's kind of like Bo Jackson. You put a tennis racket in his hand, he's going to win.
Yeah. He's an athlete.
Reminds me of one of my doctors, Dr. Jeanette Swisher, Swisher. She does a Swisher skiing clinic and has Swisher internal medicine, or did. She may be the best athlete, female-wise, that I've ever seen in my life. She's had an ACL, all these things. She still wins tennis state championships and things like that. Just like volleyball. I mean, just incredible. But some people are just gifted, and she won the Dancing with the Stars thing that they had several years ago, practicing 1 hour every day. That was it. And they were out there, and the guy she was dancing with or whatever, when they were doing flips and like all this crazy. I mean, but she's just that athletic.
Wow,
it's amazing. And her husband, Dr. Aaron Swisher, Hildebrand Medical, he's my primary doctor. But he was telling me in high school that she was a cheerleader, that she did not start playing or doing all these different sporting events until later. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that, but I told him, I said, how does she keep doing? I mean, I follow her like, it's Mandy's doctor, but I follow her everywhere. I mean, she's amazing. She's done infomercials out in like Vegas, for like new products and things before local here in Hickory. She's phenomenal, Dr. Jeanette Swisher. But my point is some people, Jim Brown, Bo Jackson, Dr. Swisher, they're just born to do.
Sure they are.
Anything when you put something in their hand or give them a ball.
Andrew said that McMichael High that Maiden played is also in Rockingham.
Yeah,
County.
so Andrew, look that up right quick before we get off here. See how many high schools are in that county. There's Rockingham, Reedsville, McMichael. I think there's 2 others that are there. I think. So, hey, if you can do that right quick, do that.
Richie said in soccer it's at penalty kicks, and Andrew said they do play in overtime
before
a shootout. Sometimes they use golden goal which is basically a sudden death in overtime.
Okay.
Richie said in the finals, like they normally play 2 overtimes, then a golden goal, penalty kicks.
Okay.
And Richie also said Carmelo officially retired yesterday, Carmelo Anthony. And here's my last story.
Athlete. Wow.
It wouldn't be a day
Okay.
without talking about Tommy. Tommy has agreed in principle, and they've come to an agreement that Tom Brady is going to become a minority owner in the Las Vegas Raiders.
So he is going to do that.
Come to an agreement.
Okay. The NFL is going to not that they weren't doing great, but it is going to take another step in the right direction.
He will be only the 3rd player in history to become an owner behind George Halas and Jerry Richardson.
I can see Brady eventually becoming the commissioner one day.
I can see I don't think he would side with the owners as much.
Huh?
I don't think he'd side with the owners as much.
But I don't disagree with that. But they'll never. I can see they'll never let that happen because they need separation. I understand that. But he would be someone that now has been an owner and such a great player that would truly have the fundamental understanding of the sport from all sides, revenues of what's out there to earn in addition to the job itself, right? The work ethic it takes. He's going to be just as intent, I would say, on being an owner as he was a player.
I'm interested to see if this makes Peyton Manning. Peyton would like to have a piece of a team too.
He would be, but all the Mannings would be good. In Eli, and But I'm gonna tell you this: that younger kid, the one that's going to Texas,
Arch.
Laney, it's not just genetics with him. People say, well, that is true. And it has a lot to do in your environment's everything as you grow up in. But his fundamental understanding of surveying a field is much like Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And do I know him? No. Do I know Bryce? No. I'm saying from
based on the testing, what they've
from
seen,
what you see and how you see them do things. And what's interesting to me is someone that gets credit but not enough in that area is someone like Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
They talk about their running prowess, they can throw the football, they can run. They survey the field. It's almost like in increments or sections or whatever, quadrants. And they know how to react and interact based on what other people have shown them.
No, you're exactly right.
So it's interesting to me that, again, science, which is a great thing, being involved in sport, what we're going to see the next 8 to 10 years in college and pro football. That I enjoyed this year's NFL draft as much as I've ever enjoyed one before.
Me too.
I thought that there was a lot of players that looked very gracious.
It looked very, very professional for the first time in a long time.
This is what it looked like to me. All right, a saying that I have with kids a lot. Stay humble, work hard, be kind. I saw that in that draft.
You did.
And I'm excited about the players.
And people made some really smart moves.
And let me tell you something. We know what's coming up in a year and a half. All right? Let's play football. All right? So the football fans can enjoy it. If you have other things you want to talk about, you put it on YouTube or you put it on the sidebar. I'm just telling you. Just saying. You've already lost the under 35 crowd. I wouldn't start with the 51 and under crowd.
There you go. Byron Sackett Duck says, "Go Panthers!" And Miami Heat. The sweep is on. Andrew said there's 6 high schools in Rockingham County. Byron's up in Chicago. Richie says, so will he be the starting quarterback for the Raiders in 2024? He could be quarterback, player, coach, owner.
You talking about Tommy or
Tommy?
I'm just kidding. But who all?
No, Milton's talking about Arch.
Yeah. Who all is in the who else is 6 schools? Reidsville, Rockingham.
You didn't ask him for that. The Florida goalie, Lindsay said, is made of bricks. Major respect for him. Oh, Andrew did answer it. Reidsville, McMichael, Rockingham County, John Moorhead, RC Early College, and the Score Central.
Okay, so the last 2, yeah. The score. Okay, So the last two are more of the combination schools of other
Like
opportunities.
Challenger and stuff.
Yes. Okay, so there's 4 big ones. All right, tell me again. Rockingham County, Reidsville, McMichael, and
John Moorhead.
Moorhead. Got
That's
it.
the 4
Got it.
real
Okay.
high schools.
Yeah, because that county.
Sorry, I don't mean to say real high schools, but you know what I'm saying. Traditional high schools. There we go.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it seems to be that there's a lot of people moving or living, in that area. I know it's not that
Why?
far from Winston and Greensboro and all that.
There's nothing up there.
I think they realize the commute.
Well, it's a bedroom
more-
community much like Catawba and
Right.
Lincoln County.
I think what people, it's kind of like
Charlotte.
living in Charlotte, working in Charlotte, living here. I think people realizing that the commute of 35, 40 minutes, right, or less, whatever, and living 30 miles away is better than living 4 miles away and taking 35 or 40 minutes. The quality of life.
I'll tell you a true story.
I don't know that,
And then
but
we'll
I'm
go.
guessing.
I'm going to give you a true story. I worked in Charlotte for 4 years.
Okay.
I lived in Krause, worked off of Graham Street, just off 85.
Yep.
Okay? I could make that commute quicker than people that worked in North Charlotte could make it to South Charlotte.
Could make it to
and
South
never leave the city. They never left the city.
Right.
They had the same traffic all the time. They
Yeah.
had the double taxation. I left, and it didn't take me any longer.
So infrastructure in a city has everything to do with the quality of life.
Sure it does.
And the quality of the people that live within the city. When it's not there and that people can't, can't get in and out. It's like, for example, now stop rambling, but it's my birthday, so I'm going to. So
It's your birthday.
I'm just kidding.
In case nobody told you.
Every day, Mandy. But it's interesting, like when, let's say that I'm going up to, let's just say Boston, all right, outside of Boston. Got clients that live, in the suburbs out there, and they're 45 minutes away. Okay, why do you, live 45 minutes outside the place that you work? Because actually that 45 minutes is less than that because we can get on the train and get into inner city really quick to where we're working versus driving a car 45 minutes in. So I say, interesting. So I start riding around when I have time in between appointments, and I'm like, there are massive train commuter places. Think of it like this. Old Sigmund Field here in Maiden. That's a parking lot. Railroad tracks, you walk up from the parking lot, maybe a little bit of shelter. You get on this massive train that's already got a ton of people on it. You get on, go in the city. You got 1 minute to get on the train. That's it. If you don't get on, door shut, you get out of the way because it's gone.
We went to the Peach Bowl one year
Incredible.
to see Clemson and LSU play, okay, in Atlanta.
Right.
We stayed in Buckhead.
Yep, sure.
Drove to the MARTA station,
Yep.
got on the MARTA because it was New Year's Eve.
Right.
Went down, had to change trains one time at the
Right.
main station.
Right.
It took you to the bottom of the Georgia Dome.
Yep.
Went to the game.
Well.
Game was over, got back on the MARTA,
Took on
went back to Buckhead. I did not want to be on the city streets at midnight on New Year's Eve in Atlanta for any reason.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I mean, it makes sense.
But the point is if infrastructure's right, then people tend to be okay with the city, working their city life, that kind of thing. If infrastructure's not good,
And you're going to see more of these
then
outlying
that's
communities
what I'm
with the
saying.
light
That's
rail.
why people are moving
That's
here.
right.
Because of these things. So they're, I'm not saying Charlotte, but I'm just giving. Well, maybe I am. Things need to.
Have a great day, everybody. If it's your birthday like 4, have a great birthday. Today's 4's birthday. Have a good one. See
Thank you.